This photograph captures an extraordinary moment in time, an audience dressed in 1970s-era formal wear seated in the historic Ford's Theater, watching intently as history and performance intertwined. The thick black bow ties, wide lapels, and elegant evening gowns place us unmistakably in the fashion of the era. Among the audience, President Jimmy Carter and First Lady Rosalynn Carter, alongside House Speaker Tip O'Neill and his wife, Mildred "Millie" O'Neill, sit with rapt attention, their expressions reflecting the gravity of the evening. The room is alive with anticipation, yet remarkably open at a time when security measures were far less stringent than they are today. There were no metal detectors, no magnetometers, only the discreet presence of Secret Service agents, their gold lapel pins catching the light as they observed from the shadows. For Frankie Hewitt, seated in the front row next to the O'Neills and actor Hugh O'Brian, this was a proud moment. O'Brian, best known for his portrayal of legendary lawman Wyatt Earp in The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp, was among the many luminaries who had gathered for this celebration. After years of tireless advocacy, navigating bureaucratic hurdles, and securing funding, Hewitt had transformed Ford's Theater from a forgotten relic into a living cultural institution. It was her vision, determination, and ability to rally Washington's elite that had made this night possible. This was January 29, 1978, the 10th anniversary gala of the reopening of Ford's Theater, a venue that had been dormant for over a century following the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln on April 14, 1865. After Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth, the theater was shuttered, seen as too painful a reminder of national tragedy. In the years that followed, it was repurposed as a warehouse, an office building, and even a government storage facility, standing as a hollowed-out relic rather than a vibrant space for the arts. It wasn't until 1968, through the relentless efforts of Frankie Hewitt, that Ford's Theater reopened its doors as a living, breathing performance space, reclaiming its place in American cultural life. The evening began with a White House reception hosted by President Jimmy Carter and First Lady Rosalynn Carter, setting a tone of elegance and significance for the night. Following the reception, guests proceeded to Ford's Theater, where the atmosphere resembled an Academy Awards ceremony, with photographers vying for the perfect shot and dignitaries taking their places under the grand chandeliers. At the center of this historic event were President Carter and First Lady Rosalynn Carter, accompanied by House Speaker Tip O'Neill and his wife Millie O'Neill, who served as the gala's general chairman. Their combined efforts were instrumental in orchestrating the evening's success. Also in attendance was Attorney General Griffin Bell, accompanied by his wife, Mary Powell Bell, a native Virginian known for her gracious Southern charm and warm, radiant smile. The gala was a testament to the vision and determination of Frankie Hewitt, the executive producer of Ford's Theater. In 1965, during a dinner conversation with friends, Hewitt learned of plans to restore Ford's Theater solely as a museum. Horrified at the thought of the venue remaining a static monument to tragedy, she envisioned it as a living theater that would honor President Lincoln's love for the performing arts. Leveraging her political acumen and extensive network, Hewitt lobbied tirelessly, forming the nonprofit Ford's Theater Society in 1967 and negotiating a partnership with the National Park Service. Her efforts culminated in the theater's reopening on February 12, 1968, with the production of John Brown's Body. Hewitt's success was bolstered by her ability to connect with Washington's elite and secure substantial corporate support. The Ford's Theater restoration effort raised significant funds, though specific donor names from that era remain scarce. The theater's revival was undoubtedly a collaborative effort, with contributions from Fortune 500 executives and cultural benefactors who recognized the importance of restoring such a historic venue. The evening's program was nothing short of spectacular. President Carter led a standing ovation for Billy Dee Williams' stirring rendition of Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech, a performance that electrified the audience. Singers Linda Hopkins and Dolores Hall delivered powerful musical numbers that resonated throughout the historic venue. The audience was a blend of Washington's political elite and Hollywood's luminaries. Notable attendees included actors Henry Fonda, Lauren Green, Vincent Price, and James Whitmore, whose presence added a touch of glamour to the evening. Their participation, alongside major corporate donors, underscored the collaborative effort behind the theater's revival. Following the performance, guests transitioned to the Pan American Union, affectionately known as Alejandro's Palace, for a late-night celebration. The festivities featured live music from a renowned New York ensemble, and the guest list included figures such as Eartha Kitt, Helga Orfila in a daring red ensemble, and the ever-elegant Mr. and Mrs. William Cafritz, adding to the night's allure. This moment, captured by Washington dossier photographer John Whitman, exemplifies the great moment style of photography that defines our historical photo collection. The image of the audience, deeply engaged in the performance, tells a richer story not just of a gala, but of a city reclaiming one of its most historic spaces. Frankie Hewitt's personal life was as dynamic as her professional endeavors. She was married to Don Hewitt, the executive producer of CBS's 60 Minutes, until their divorce in 1974. Together, they had a daughter, Lisa Gabrielle Hewitt Cassara, who became a coordinating producer for the syndicated television show A Current Affair. Hewitt also had another daughter, Jillian Childers Hewitt, from her first marriage to Bob Childers. She continued to lead Ford's Theater until her passing from cancer on February 28, 2003, at the age of 71. Her legacy endures in the vibrant cultural institution that Ford's Theater remains today. Today, the theater continues to thrive as a historic and cultural institution, hosting live performances, educational programs, and exhibitions on Lincoln's legacy. The venue remains a testament to the power of the arts to transform history, much in the way that Frankie Hewitt had envisioned decades ago. The legacy of Ford's Theater, once the site of national tragedy, had been transformed into a cultural cornerstone thanks to a community of dedicated visionaries and supporters. This event marked the continuation of a tradition where the theater would not only honor Lincoln's legacy, but also inspire future generations through the performing arts.